Hey, what's up? Today we're going to be taking a look at Serato sample. I'll be giving you a tutorial on how to use it within GarageBand and also a small review of what I think of the value. For this tutorial I'm going to work in a blank project. Now to open Serato sample, come up to this plus button in the top left corner and click it. This is add an instrument, obviously. You click software instrument and then hit create. Alright, so I have a new software instrument. Now, normally in GarageBand you'd go through this instrument library here. But for this, we're going to close the instrument library. I'm going to click on this vintage piano here, right on this little set of arrows. And instead of clicking AU generators and instruments, I'm going to go to Serato sample and hit stereo. So here we see the page for Serato sample. I am already logged in to my trial. But if you weren't logged in and you had only downloaded it, then you would see a prompt asking you to log in. So I'm just going to come over here and grab a sample from their complimentary sample pack with the trial. I like that kind of housey synth, so we're going to put that in. And the way that this works is you set essentially Serato cue points, and for this I'm going to use the GarageBand keyboard with Serato sample here. And the way you open the GarageBand computer keyboard is by make sure you have GarageBand selected and then hit Command K. Okay, so now we have this keyboard up, and I'm just going to have it sit in the background. Yes, you have to make sure that the keyboard is open in the background to have it work. So I'm just going to slide through, and then I'll click this one just on here. I don't need to use the keyboard quite yet. I'm just going to set all the cue points all the way through. And you'll see all these cue points are red because they start at the base part of a waveform, which is common with Serato. Your EQ color waveforms are also in Serato sample. So for example, if I go a little bit in, this one should be like yellow or green. Yeah, there you go, yellow. So that one's starting on yellow. This is just so that you can see kind of where you're starting the cue, so you know what frequency you're going to start with. And you cannot drag and then select. You have to stop dragging so that the mouse comes back. This little arrow on the screen comes back, and then you can click again. Alright, so I have a full bank now. So you'll hear here that if I click this, you get a and the way to remedy that is to take this little arrow down there and just drag it to the size of the sound that you want. And you can do that with all of these if you want. So like this one's going to be a double, so I'm just going to drag that out a little bit. And you can see where on the keyboard I'm clicking to get each sound. And the other thing you can actually do here is, so I have W and K that are similar, and I actually want to make W down a key, and heck, I'll slow it down by half. That's slowed by half too. So now it sounds a little bit better, and I can go. Now, if I think all of these are a little bit too fast, then I'll go in, I'm going to put these back to normal, and then I can actually unsync the BPM, and this will slow it down to the native tempo that's right here. And let's hear it now. So I just noticed that these are the same. So I'm going to put this up a key. Alright, so here we go. These are all set. Now, if you were really looking to use this for a lot of production, then you would want to go through the sample here and choose your cue points wherever you want to use the notes. So say I could put one here, put one here, and just choose wherever on the sample I want it. But for now, we're just going to work at the start. Now, say I'm typing through, and I'm like, you know what, this key is a little high, so I'm going to take the key down, the entire key of the piece. It's a little fast for me, so I'm going to go down to 70. Alright, so we can see there what the main functions are and how you can set everything up the way that you want/need it. So now we're going to go in and actually do some changes. So I'm going to take this first one and make it all the way through. So that will allow it to go all the way through until I hit pause, which I don't really like that, so I'm going to go back and make it regular. And you can play the sample, you can freeze it, which is similar to freeze and Tractor, which kind of surprises me that Serato did something so similar. If you want, you can zoom in if you need a little bit closer look, so you can see that my cue points are actually off, and that's why they're all red, but I'm not too worried about that. So like this one, I'm going to slide back just a little bit. And these are super easy to delete. All you have to do is go to the cue and hit the delete button on the computer. So I'm going to actually slide right in there. There we go. And like this one needs a change, so I'm going to just find it and slide it up a little bit more and hit it again. Okay, now it's green. You can save this as an instrument, but I'm not going to get into that. There are more features down in here. Select all, clear all, to work with this, and some modifiers for this pad area or the cue area. Lastly, within this Serato sample window, I'm going to go through level, which is just turning a certain cue up. So say I want to take the first one and turn it up. You can hear it's louder if I go up. And that helps with the attack if you want something a little bit louder. And this attack is actually the speed, so if I click this, so this attack is actually the speed to reach the full volume, and that's in milliseconds, obviously. The release is actually coming off of when you let go of the key. So say I'm on 1, I have a release set, so it'll play that much. No matter how much release I put, it'll stay within the width. And the filter is similar to what you'd see on a DDJ-SX or a similar Pioneer controller mixer, and that's just your high pass and your low pass. So this actually sounds like Middle by DJ Snake, this sound right here. So there's a lot of manipulation that you can do to these sounds. And that's basically it for this. That's pretty much the general stuff that you really need to know to use it and really produce with it properly. So I'm going to close out of this window now and just leave the keyboard open. So I can actually come in, and I'm not very good at just randomly typing a rhythm out, so I'm really not going to try and make any sort of rhythm. I'm just going to kind of show you how it goes in. So I'm going to hit record here, and I can just type out a rhythm. And you can see that this went in like a standard instrument, and you can actually move that little instrument beat through wherever you've set the cues, and you can use the keyboard. So basically what you're doing with Serato sample is you're building an instrument off of a sample, which is called a sample instrument, and that's what really any instrument in any DAW is sampling sounds. They're just built to some sort of keyboard, usually a piano keyboard like this, where you can go through. So say this one. So that has a whole sample library that's calibrated to each key. And there's just programming that makes it one sound or the other. And it attaches everything so that you can use things like this pitch. So I'll go. And you can use the pitch in here. It just it's a little different, and basically the octave doesn't change really the octave, it changes the octave of the keyboard, so that moves you out of range of Serato sample. And what you can do is you can design your drum beats and everything using Serato sample within GarageBand or any DAW, and you can build an entire project instead of using samples that are preset like this. Or if you don't like the GarageBand instruments, you can kind of build your own and layer to make your own sound. That being said, I'd like to talk about cost. So I'm going to bring you to the Serato web. Okay, so under the music production tab, we have Serato sample, pitch and time, Pro, LE, FE. The thing about Serato sample is that it does include some pitch and time capability. I don't really see a need for pitch and time unless you're like really producing some serious stuff and making money off of it, to spend $400 on a time stretching program when you can buy Logic here for $199. That being said, if you really don't have the $199 to upgrade to Logic, then it might make sense to buy Serato sample and buy some time on GarageBand, which it's super cool that it works with GarageBand and Logic. Although GarageBand isn't necessarily officially supported, it's very easy to make it work. You do have to drag it into components when it asks you to install, but essentially it works just like it would in Logic. It comes up as a plugin instrument, and yeah, it works pretty well. I'm gonna stick with going up to Logic and seeing how their sampler is, and when I do buy Logic and check out their sampler, I'll make sure to give you guys another review and tutorial on that. But Logic does have a built-in sampler that I'd like to see how it rivals Serato sample. So thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more. Drop a comment in the comment section and a like on this video. And make sure to click on the ads that you see around the video so that I can get some funding for future projects with Logic and such, so that I can continue to do these videos for you. We will see you in the next one.